I have hardly ever heard any of my male friends say, "I'm not doing too good." I think this becomes the number one reason for feeling lonely. Do we actually have the tools to get this right? I shouted out in anger. Let me leave you with a few things I want to try doing to help with this important matter. In life, things happen all the time. We may lose a loved one, have an issue at work, fall out with a friend, suffer health problems, or just feel a little down because something hasn't gone to plan. This is the way life works. It isn't always picture perfect, and challenges are a part of our journey. For some reason, as men, we sometimes struggle to discuss how something has made us feel, and we are more likely to bottle it up and just carry on. We are less likely to show our emotions and hardly ever share what may be happening to us internally. This is something I've been following for a while now, and I've been really interested to explore. After all, if there is something we can change for the better, we certainly should. For us to be able to change something with this important issue, we first need to understand why the struggle exists. In this video, I would like to have a look at some of those potential reasons and also figure out some changes we can make. Surely, it can't just be down to the fact that we are struggling to communicate in those situations. Talking about communication, I hope you've seen my last video where I share some simple steps that I believe can impact the way we speak in everyday scenarios. If you haven't had a chance to see it yet, please check it out. My name is Bobby, and this is Real People, Real Talk. Let me start off by saying, I'm not an expert in men's mental health. I'm just a real guy in the real world. I struggle with the sharing sometimes, and I know a lot of other men who do too. I am figuring it out as I go, and I'm bringing you my thoughts and opinions in the hope that it will be thought-provoking for you too. I'm hoping that by identifying some of the reasons this may be happening, we will be able to get a little better and in turn help with the loneliness crisis we have at the moment. Let's have a look at what the reasons could be. Here are a few questions that are going through my head. Do we feel like it reduces our masculinity? Look, I think this may be a common one. Evolutionary, the male was the protector and provider. He was the one that went to hunt and find the substantial food for the tribe. He was the one that slept closer to the opening of the cave to ensure he was ready if danger presented itself. Back then, regardless of what we may have been feeling, we just had to crack on. The tribe relied on us. Over time, this continued, and whatever was happening, it had to be figured out, and the male had to continue to protect and provide. Things changed, of course. Today we have double-income households, and women are progressing in their careers, providing equally, and in some cases, much more for the household. We also have a big proportion of women who are raising children by themselves and being the sole protector and provider. So when the roles are no longer as clear as they were in the cave, do men feel like their masculinity is questioned? If so, does that mean men feel like if they now spoke more about not feeling right or being impacted by external stresses, does that signal a weakness? What about how we express ourselves in situations of frustration, sadness, anxiety, and so on? From my own experiences and what I see around me, a lot of the times male emotions are often packaged into anger. It almost feels like anger is the most socially acceptable emotion for a man to show. I believe this is why we have those days where men are described as being in a bad mood, grumpy, or just horrible to be around. In those instances, it feels like more is at play, but it presents itself in being angry or shouty about smaller things that happen. I have a good example of this. A few years back, I was going through a stressful time, and I was holding the majority of those feelings in. During one of those days, I went to grab the vacuum cleaner to do some cleaning. As I went to grab it, the bin on the machine opened up and the dirt within it went all over the floor. Without even thinking, I shouted out in anger. My wife thought this was completely out of character and was shocked at my reaction. Ordinarily, something like that would not have affected me. I'm holding the vacuum cleaner anyway, so it's a simple cleanup after all. However, at the time I had bottled up so many of my emotions that the event brought out something that normally would not have happened. I decided to feel and show anger, even though I had stress and frustration built up inside that I had not articulated. So the question is, do we take the easier option of being angry in times where we may be feeling something completely different? Is this because we feel it is more accepted? Are we struggling with how to talk about what's going on effectively? This is something that I've been thinking about for a while now. Given the other two reasons I've mentioned before, do we actually have the tools to get this right? The idea that men should open up more has been around for years now. Despite the fact that we hear that a lot, we still seem to struggle here. Is it really enough to say men should open up more? I've seen many instances where men are being told to be vulnerable, but it does feel like the ones that do end up doing so are the ones that were happy to show vulnerability anyway. I think my point is that just saying you need to open up more will most likely not get the desired result. We see this in our friendships when something bad happens in someone's life. We tend to say, "I'm here if you need to talk," or "let me know if you need anything." In my experience, there hasn't been many occasions at all where I would then get a phone call to say, "Hey, I'm calling because I need to talk," or "I could really do with some help right now." Equally, there is the times where men are putting on a front and acting as if everything is normal, especially when we talk to friends and family. This is most likely driven by not really knowing what to say or how to say it, but still appreciating the opportunity not to be alone. My friend recently sent me a video of two men meeting up daily to run. One of the men was very quiet during the runs, whereas the other was really chatty and bubbly. It then cuts to a scene at the end that says, "Check in with your friends. You never know when they may need you." It shows the quiet man showing up for the run alone the next day, indicating that the chatty man, who seemed happier, was the one that was struggling in more ways than one. It's really interesting because despite meeting up for a regular run, the video indicates that the check-in never happened. These were the three main questions circulating in my mind. If you feel like any of this is thought-provoking, then please leave me a like to let me know. I'm speculating here, based on my own experience and from what I see around me. I'm sure there may be many more theories, but for now, let's dive a little deeper into these and see whether there's something we can improve. Let's look at masculinity. We want to be protectors and providers, just as it has been for hundreds and thousands of years. It becomes a little more difficult when life has changed so much and we actually end up co-providing or not providing at all, depending on whether we have dependents yet. Therefore, for our men who do not have that opportunity yet, does it mean they sometimes feel the need to showcase that in how they handle their emotions? What about the men that do have partners and children? Do they feel they have to shield their struggles from their family to signal strength? I would say yes to that question. I think our families look at us with such high regard, especially the younger kids. To them, we are superheroes. It becomes a little difficult to show emotions that could be perceived as weakness, so we smile through the struggle. At what cost, though? What I keep thinking about is this. If we were back in the cave years ago and the hunting man got hurt during one of the days he was trying to bring back an antelope, he would have the tribe look after him and nurse him back to health so that he can get back to what he does best. That is not that different to today. We aren't putting ourselves at risk trying to hunt animals, of course, but the struggles have changed and the pain that we feel has too. We do want to instill some resilience in our kids. All those years of smiling through the struggle and finding strength to continue going are a great lesson to teach emotion regulations, as long as we also learn how to regulate rather than suppress. The idea of masculinity has changed. There is a place for men in this world and they bring some important qualities to the table, just as women do. I feel we need to find what value we bring to our friends and families, and that value or resource is the providing part. It may not be all of the food or all of the money, but it could be their woodworking skills, their ability to teach kids to be better at sports. It could be cooking skills or the fact that they are really good at driving. The point is there's always something that can be provided. For the protection, Well, there's a reason why the male sometimes sleeps through the baby's cry, but not to the noise outside. The danger sounds are prevalent because that's how we have evolved. But protection doesn't have to be the protection from danger. We can protect our young, protect our elders too. We protect our friends who may not have the ability to protect themselves. Redefine what masculinity means, but at the same time, find comfort in the fact that those ancient traits are still within us. We already show these attributes. It doesn't need to be about shutting off our emotions. The next time things get a little heavy, try and ask for a little help from the tribe. I'm certain they will want to nurse you back so that you can get back on that hunt. This brings me on to how we express our emotions and whether we are equipped to do it in the right way. We talked about the idea that men seem to be most comfortable in showing all of their emotions as anger. I am certain this doesn't work in the long run, because after a while it gets dismissed by people saying, probably best to stay out of his way, he's in a foul mood today. This then means you are left alone to deal with whatever you have going on anyway. Do we really want to be in a place where people are avoiding us because we are struggling to deal with our emotions? I think this becomes the number one reason for feeling lonely, despite having many people around you. The loneliness isn't about the fact that we feel we don't have anyone. It's more around the feeling that nobody has us. As in, nobody has our back during this time of uncertainty or anguish. A similar feeling could be observed with our male friends. Sometimes you may try and share the feelings you have with a friend, and because they aren't equipped to deal with it themselves, they may try to make a joke out of it. Their intentions are good. They sense something is off, but by bringing humor into it, the thought is that you can all just laugh it off and get back to what you were doing. The problem with that is that the banter means that friend will most likely never open up again in the fear that will be used against them. Let me quickly go back to this video that my friend sent me. As I watched it, I really felt like the quieter man was the one that was struggling. Instead, it was a chatty guy that had the bigger struggle, and this was confirmed at the end when he sadly stopped showing up. I do believe that the quiet guy probably had his own little struggles, and this may have been the reason for him to be less talkative. However, the run most likely helped him a lot more than the person who was doing all the talking. There's two issues here in my opinion. One is that as men we seem to spend more time doing things when we get together. We will watch the game, go to the gym, go for a run, play a new video game, or go to an event. We should take some inspiration from our female counterparts who seem to be much more able to meet just to talk. By having an activity that we got together for, we allow ourselves and our friends the opportunity to say, man, I just want to watch this game to be honest, whenever the conversation may get slightly uncomfortable. The other issue might be the fear of looking weak if we say that we're not doing too good. Over the many years of being friends with my friendship group, I have hardly ever heard any of my male friends say, I'm not doing too good. Instead, it has always been an observation of behavior changing and then asking that particular individual whether they're okay, to then maybe get some explanation. But for it to happen that way is pretty rare. These days, I try and just show up for people when I feel like something may be off. That might just look like an increased amount of phone calls to check in. I don't say that I'm here if they want to talk. I just make sure I'm there and available in case they do talk. These are some of my preliminary thoughts. There is quite a bit here, but I think there's still more to come on this subject matter. If you're watching this video and you feel you have some thoughts, then please leave me a comment below. It would be great to read what you think about this. Your comment will not only help me, but also others that are watching this video. Let me leave you with a few things I want to try doing to help with this important matter. Number 1. I believe I would share more if the right question was asked. Therefore, I think one thing for me to try and do with others is to ask better questions when an opportunity presents itself. Are you okay? Just isn't cutting it in these scenarios, unfortunately. Maybe something like, that was a tough thing for you to go through, man. What are you thinking? Or you had some real challenges there. What are you doing to help you through that? These may be better options, and they acknowledge the fact that there was a valid struggle or challenge. Number 2, I think we should normalize get-togethers with male friends where the primary objective is to catch up and talk about what has been going on lately. Doing things together is great fun, but let's not allow the check-in not to happen. This can also be done with catch-up calls, something I do with my friends every week, presenting opportunities to talk rather than saying call me if you need. Number 3, having opportunity to talk doesn't necessarily mean that talking will happen. And that's why I think we as men need to try and give a little more. I'm certainly going to try and share more, allow the tribe to help nurse me back if needed so I can get back on the hunt. A good way to look at this is around expectations. Sometimes we expect that people close to us should just know when things aren't right, and if and when they don't act on it, we may feel a little worse. Despite how difficult our natural may feel, I think it would be good to try and ask people around us a simple question like, this happened the other day. Have you ever had something like that happen? Talking through problems will ease the weight of them. Lastly, I want to continue to show up for people, create safe spaces to talk and share. I think that means we have to stop the practice of making a joke out of things that really aren't a joke. If it's serious, I want to give it that feel. I know it might be hard to then say the right things or give the right answers, but most times we don't need to. We can just sit in the mud with our friends and family, and that will be supportive too. We can signal that they don't have to do this on their own. I hope some of this has sparked some thoughts for you. A huge proportion of our audience is men at the moment. But this video is not just for men. If you have a father, brother, husband or boyfriend, this applies to you too. We can do more to help people feel less lonely with their challenges. If you feel this content can be useful to anyone, please share this video with them. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Not only is it the #1 way to support what we're doing here, it also shows me that I'm on the right track with the content I'm bringing to you. Thank you for watching and for your support so far. I really appreciate it. My name is Bobby, and this is Real People Real Talk. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again soon.